The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Ahoy! Let's go! We're waking up Chicago. Turn up the radio. It's time to start the show. On Q101 with the morning crew. Ahoy! Let's go! Welcome to the morning show.
And it's Friday.
I've created a monster, cause nobody wants to see Marshall no more. They want shady, I'm chopped liver. Well, if you want shady, this is what I'll give you. A little bit of weed mixed with some hard liquor, some vodka that'll jumpstart my heart quicker than a shock when I get shocked at the hospital by the doctor when I'm not cooperating. When I'm rocking the table while he's operating. Hey! You waited this long to stop debating, cause I'm back, I'm on the brag and ovulating. I know that you got a job, Miss Cheney, but your husband's heart problem's complicating. So the FCC won't let me be, or let me be me, so let me see. They try to shut me down on MTV, but it feels so empty without me.
Let's go. It is Friday. You made it. We're here. We're going to get you 4 hours closer to the weekend, whenever you got planned. Check in with us, 312-591-83. Now, give us that proof of life check-in here in a kind of in our gloomy morning here, as Brian and Kenzie have Glass Animals tickets coming up at 8:10 in Clash with Kenzie. We have at 9 o'clock Red Hot Chili Peppers, a chance to go see them anywhere you want to go. Put those times in your phone. Be ready for that. And Dicky Barrett's going to stop by the studio. Former singer of the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, Jimmy Kimmel announcer, among other things. He'll stop by around 7:20. He's got a show with his new band at the House of Blues, The Defiant. That's tonight. We'll have tickets for that, and we'll have a great chat with him because he's always interesting dude. What a history of the ska-core scene. Mm-hmm. They kind of invented that, the ska-core.
I don't know if they invented that.
I mean, kind of, I would say the Mighty Mighty Bosstones were in that world of the big, most popular ska combined hardcore band in that era, late 90s, in the 2000s. There's one that's bigger I'm not thinking of. As far as the biggest, most, they were not, that song.
No, certainly the most popular.
That song made it to #1 on the Billboard charts. Beat out like Madonna.
That's good stuff. That's a great song.
Yeah.
Great song.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have them in.
Yeah, many jamborees, and of course all the old, Q101 shows, the Christmas shows, all that. So excited to have him in. Also, we've got Case reviewing The Naked Gun today. Now, this is a programming note because he was supposed to review Ghostbusters.
That's right.
But then OJ died.
And that changes everything.
It's been 20 hours since we broke the news, only a couple seconds after TMZ did it. Our sources got to it. Missed it again. We just don't pay like $300,000 for that info like they do.
It's probably I don't have a man on the street journalist I can turn to let me know up-to-date celebrity deaths.
That sucks. We were just right there. So yesterday, right when we got off the air, it's like, oh my God, OJ died. And then we go, okay, here's Lauren.
Yeah. I'm sure she's going to play cannons here in a minute. Everybody sit tight.
But I've got to say, the phrase in the last 20 hours of either seeing or hearing on network news, and I wish I could have had time to make a montage. I just didn't have time to do it.
You got the baby, stuff.
The baby, I've got all kinds of stuff going on. But it was everybody leading into the story saying, and now we talk about the complicated history of O.J. Simpson. And that's everybody, the word complicated. If we could get an algorithm, something on AI to find out how much that was used yesterday in the last 24 hours, complicated. And I find it fascinating that just no one wants to just say it. They want to dance around it. He was a wonderful football player, tremendous actor, a murderer. Well, you see, it's complicated because he was talented, but he killed people. Really, really rough situation. And then he got away with it.
I know.
And the word complicated, I just think was abused in the last 24 hours.
It was certainly the hot word of the day.
Yeah. The complicated history of OJ. We'll get back to it in a minute. But first, sports.
And then they show OJ running highlights. They're like, look at this dude.
That's what was weird. Sports Center did basically a recap of his career that was kind of like they were doing Tom Brady. And I was going, are they going to say anything here? I understand. Listen, the stats are amazing. He was wonderful as a player, before the murders. Excuse me. I don't know. It just felt like everybody didn't want to just say it. And it's okay to say it because it's part of it. This is the problem with communication. Just be a little direct. He was a great football player. He was a damn funny actor. And then he's a murderer. It was complicated. It was a little complicated. I understand. Oh, just made me laugh yesterday.
It's so weird because it's not like any of us have any emotional connection to him, but trying to like wrap your head around, I guess O.J. Simpson isn't alive anymore, is an odd thing to do.
Yeah.
I thought about it way more than I was anticipating.
Well, it's a little more emotional for me because I was alive during all that.
Yeah.
Like you were not even born until 99. You missed the chase. You missed the trial.
I missed everything.
It defined that mid-90s time that was full of a lot of stuff with Kurt Cobain, losing him, and the Branch Davidians. And, there was so much in
All
that
the stars.
in that 94, 96 era. It was packed. There was no court cases on TV and pre the OJ trial.
Mm-hmm.
Like that made a whole drama of investigating someone that, wow, there's a guy who I know from football and like the Naked Gun, and he also now is on trial for murder.
Yeah, because he was, correct me if I'm wrong, but he was so famous before like an A-list celebrity. And then you're like, wait, he did what? And then there's this incredible drawn-out trial, and then the result of the trial is in question.
Yeah.
And then the guy gets arrested later for stealing his own merchandise.
Which is another whole arc that just takes another whole show to get
Exactly.
into. And he goes to jail for almost 10 years for that.
He is a murderer, but has lived one of the most fascinating lives of anybody in the history of Earth.
It's really insane, the arc of his life. And then he almost dies like a mob boss that beat everybody and died peacefully in his bed. Now, I know he died of cancer, which is terrible, of course. But he lived to 76.
Good life. I'd love to live to 76.
It's the average age that people live to in America, right around there, 78, I think it is. And so you always hear about that mob boss of he just beat every hitman, every court case, Teflon Don. Well, of course, God, he didn't. He ended up going to jail, and he died in jail.
That's too bad.
Yeah, but, it just feels like that's what he did. And then the poor families didn't get justice. Him dying at 76 is not justice, for those families. But what we can do is open the show with probably the most appropriate thing to do is the jokes that Norm Macdonald got fired from Saturday Night Live for. Norm Macdonald, what a cherished legend, also gone too soon and not appreciated enough in his time. If you've never heard these, just sit back and enjoy this next 60 seconds of what got Norm Macdonald fired for. And these jokes were in the heat of that era, right when it was all going on. He gets fired because the boss of the network at that time was buddies with OJ.
That's right, Dick Eversole.
And they were supposed to, be irreverent, and Norm Macdonald lived up to it with these jokes.
Well, let's get to OJ. OJ Simpson's lawyers say they don't want the families of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman in the courtroom during the trial. They're afraid the presence of the family members will just remind OJ of how much more killing he still has to do. It was revealed this week that defense lawyer Johnny Cochran once abused his first wife. In his defense, Cochran said, "Hey, at least I didn't kill her like some people I know." This week at the O.J. Simpson trial, the infamous bloody glove was finally introduced into evidence, and O.J. didn't help his case any by blurting out, "There it is, I've been looking all over for that thing." In his book, O.J. Simpson says that he would have taken a bullet or stood in front of a train for Nicole. Man, I'm going to tell you, that is some bad luck when the one guy who would have died for you kills you. That's probably... You don't get worse luck than that. Testimony during the final week provided some spellbinding moments. In a brilliant move during closing arguments, Simpson attorney Johnny Cochran put on the knit cap prosecutors say O.J. wore the night he committed the murders. Although O.J. may have hurt his case when he suddenly blurted out, hey, easy with that. That's my lucky stabbing hat.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Wait, I wish we just really had a moment. Are you being serious, Dicky, though?
I swear to God, I've been traveling. I was traveling today, and I'll tell you a great story, too, once you say who I am.
Yeah, first let's do this. Okay, It's Brian and Kenzie, Q101. Dicky Barrett, the legend, is in the studio.
Oh, legend, please.
You're Mighty Bosstones. You've heard him on Jimmy Kimmel as the announcer. You're one of those guys, to me, like a little bit like in a Henry Rollins world where you have your hand in everything.
Well, I'm like more like Forrest Gump. I just end up places and do things, and someone says, do you want to do this? And I go, oh, all right, I can try that.
Yeah.
I'm unsuited and unqualified, but I'll give it a shot. Good morning, Chicago.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm so glad you're here playing the...
Seconds ago, you just blew the lid off something that I had no idea. OJ died. I did not know that. I know everybody's, veering off the road going, this idiot didn't know OJ died. I had no idea.
See, that's what's amazing. That makes me jealous of your life in a way. That you are that just in other stuff.
Yes.
You didn't sit there on Twitter or whatever. It happened yesterday right at the end of our show. So like 9:45-ish, it was announced yesterday.
I live sort of a culturalist life in Arizona now, and I've been doing that for the last couple of years, but I think that I'm alert and aware, and I have access to the internet, and I don't know if that's true. I'm not that far off the grid, and there's a television set, but I did not know this. Do you know? All right, I'll tell you a pretty good story, and I'll try to make it as quick as possible.
Dude, take your time. If it's an OJ story, take your time.
So I never met OJ. But years ago, the Mighty Mighty Bosstones were on a record called Kiss My Ass. It was a tribute to Kiss that Gene Simmons put out himself. Okay, so if there's going to be Dicky, if there's going to be a tribute to Kiss, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And so Gene released this record, and the Mighty Mighty Bosstones were on it because we were on the same record label. And then there was going to be a press sort of junket where not even junket, I don't know what to call it, but me and Gene, because we had the single on that record, we're going to fly to various markets on the East Coast and promote the album together.
Yeah.
Which was strange. And I had never met Gene either at that time. And this is years ago, 90s. And in the morning, I got up very early, and much like I did this morning, and we're in New York City, and at my, I had an apartment in New York City at the time. And I was to get in this limo, go across town to a hotel, pick up Gene Simmons, and then we were going to start this press thing. Fly to Philly, I think, was the first place we were going to. And as I'm driving across town, the news came on the radio that O.J. Simpson's wife had been murdered.
Right.
And I'm like, what's going on? Same thing. Hit with a ton of bricks. I'm like, oh, this is so strange. And it's going on, and O.J. has not been located. We don't know where O.J. is, but his wife, Nicole, and
Ron Goldman had been found murdered. And then Gene gets in, and I was like, oh, it's nice to meet you, Gene. How are you? Good morning and everything. Did you hear that O.J. Simpson's wife has been killed? And then Gene took a beat, and he goes, Dicky, O.J. did it. I'm still trying to process everything. This is before the car chase. This is before, if the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. Gene Simmons has solved the case within moments first thing he tells me, moments of meeting him. Oh, God.
And, so kind of mind-blowing. But so how did O.J. pass away? Please catch me up to date here.
Okay, I want to make a joke. I want to say he was murdered.
Too soon, dude.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll get canceled later. Yeah. He died of cancer at 76.
So it was something he was battling that we didn't know about?
I think so. He made his last tweet was in February talking about he had health issues, but he was doing good. And
he was really shouting down the rumors that he was in poor health. He kind of stayed lying until the very end because he had a Twitter video where he was like, hey, everybody's saying I'm in hospice. I'm O.J. Simpson. I'm good to go. I'm healthy.
Yeah.
And he was not.
And he's not.
Well, if you know anything about me, I was kind of hoping it was the COVID shot. Oh, Dicky, complete.
How dare you?
Read the room.
Yeah, how dare you?
All right.
Yes.
May he rest in peace. He was a tremendous Buffalo Bill at one time, and as Chicago Bears fan, I'm sure most of your listeners could give a fat rat's patoot.
Yeah, well, here's the thing that's funny to me I opened the show with this today, is that every news organization come out and they go, coming up, we're going to talk about the complicated legacy of O.J. Simpson.
Right. How do you approach it?
Well, but I'm also like, why can't you just say he was an incredible football player? He was one of the funniest guys in movies up until 94. And then he allegedly murdered his wife and a couple people.
He was beloved.
Yes.
Before, but yeah, and allegedly too, because, the verdict was what it was. We can't.
I think we got this one, though. I think this one's I think we know this one, I think.
You think we know it? Yeah.
Well, I was in a little deep dive yesterday. Like, there was like a 1 in 57 billionth chance that the blood sample could not be his.
Right.
That's pretty good odds to beat.
I would say so too, but I don't know. A Kardashian helped find him innocent.
That's right.
That's right. That's how we got the Kardashians.
And
then all the lawyers started dying.
Oh, is that right?
Well, he died, and then Johnny Cochran died. Pretty young. I mean, somewhat young. He was. I think they were both pretty young. So two of those, those guys died.
I don't know if I want to send OJ a rest in peace or a burn in hell, but either way.
Yeah, I lean. Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning toward the burn in hell. That's just me. But
you're leaning that way.
Yeah, I'm humming that way. Yeah.
All right.
But this is so nice that we caught you up before your show tonight at the House of Blues.
Thank
Dicky.
you very much. Yeah. I wonder if that'll affect ticket sales.
It's not going to get canceled for an honor in any way like that.
A nation
in
mourns. A nation. Very interesting. I'm so glad I came. I was like, what am I doing getting up? What am I, these seem like nice guys. I'll go on the air with them. But,
right.
I would be walking around dumbfounded.
Well, yeah, you would have been embarrassed going in the House of Blues tonight if someone said something and you're like, he did? He's gone?
Yeah. I would play it off like, who cares?
Right.
I'd have a punk rock attitude.
Because how soon before a show do you get that punk rock attitude in full flow? I mean, it's probably here right now, too. I get it. It's on the air right now. But right before a show, do you have to work yourself up?
Enter? I don't really know. Probably when I hit the stage, because up until then, I'm just a dopey dad that currently lives in Arizona and has had a Forrest Gump-like life.
Yeah, with no internet or TV or tinfoil hat on.
Tinfoil hat, no TV.
So, Dicky Barrett tonight with a Defiant. Of course, you remember from the Mighty Mighty Bosstones at House of Blues. The Me Too and Gimme Gimmes are there as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a great show. And I
can't wait to tell them about OJ. Really?
They're not going to believe it.
Yeah. Why do no one told me? I have people that text me the dumbest stuff.
I'll tell you what.
I had a text thread going about the Boston Celtics losing last night. That was such a deep dive into it. And man. No one happened to mention OJ.
Tragic.
Mind-blowing.
More with Dicky Barrett. We'll have tickets for the show again tonight, too. Of course, the Mighty Mighty Bosstones. You recognize his voice. He's in the studio, and on this song, it's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
That's 7 minutes away from 9 a.m. Your chance to go see the Chili Peppers anywhere you want. We'll do that. Brian and Kenzie on Q101. But first, it's that time when Case reviews a movie he hasn't seen, a big movie. For example, he's done Shawshank Redemption. Now he's seen that. He's seen Roadhouse now. He has seen Back to the Future. He has seen Braveheart. He has seen The Matrix.
That's right.
Do you feel like a better person now?
I really do. I really have enjoyed not only watching these, but we have a list that will take us through 2029 now with all of the movies that our crew members have recommended that I haven't seen. It's been really, really fun. And I was all prepared to watch Ghostbusters for the first time yesterday. I had never seen Ghostbusters before, not the original, not any of the remakes.
And Dan Aykroyd's in town, and the movie, promoting a lot of stuff with the Wonderverse thing with the Ghostbusters. And then, of course, there's a movie out to another Ghostbusters movie, so it was a perfect time to do that one.
Which is why we did Roadhouse, was to celebrate the release of the new Roadhouse. I watched the original. We were going to do that with Ghostbusters. And then we found out that O.J. Simpson had passed away.
O.J. Simpson died.
And what do? You certainly don't watch his football highlights.
No, you don't do that.
You discuss his complicated legacy.
Yes.
And you watch The Naked Gun.
Complicated legacy that the news loves talking about.
You guys were so much better at staying committed to this bit than your weight loss challenge, I must say.
This is way more fun.
You're much more laser focused on this.
I eat while I'm watching the movies. It's awesome.
It's snacky snack.
Yeah. The problem with the weight loss challenge was I couldn't snack on anything.
Yeah.
You got probably some lettuce. You might get like a rabbit.
You got that Dune popcorn cup while you're watching the... Now, the interesting thing is, so The Naked Gun is, obviously, OJ's in The Naked Gun, so we made that switch. Now, it's a big movie, no question, but it's not like a Ghostbusters or a Shawshank.
I know, because I hate to admit this, but I actually have not seen The Naked Gun.
Wow.
Which bums me out, because I'm a movie person.
Yeah, you've seen like so many things, way before your time that have come out too.
Yeah, I am a movie person. Like, I gotta say, like, I see everything.
Yeah.
I have not seen The Naked Gun. The guy with the white hair's in it, right?
Yes, Leslie Nielsen.
Yep. Got it.
That guy.
I always thought he would have made a really good Inspector Clouseau,
Oh, yeah.
which would be a Pink Panther remake.
Oh,
I always
because
thought
Steve
he
Martin did that with Beyonce.
Steve Martin did it. I always thought pre-Steve Martin, that guy, other white-headed man, would have been a really good Inspector Clouseau.
I think you're
Very
right.
goofy.
Good call.
Well, it was Leslie Nielsen, and let's get to the review as we start off always with the trailer from this movie, The Naked Gun.
In this city, there's crime on every street. But one man has seen enough. He's Lieutenant Frank Drebin.
Whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat.
He's a good cop who's having a bad day. His best friend
Everyone should have a friend like you.
is
That's
in a
OJ
coma.
flying in the air.
As soon as Nordberg is better, he's welcome back at Police Squad. But I wouldn't wait until the last minute to fill out those organ donor cards.
And his city is in the hands of a master criminal with a sinister plan.
I must kill the queen.
The Naked Gun from the files of Police Squad.
Oh, God. And I haven't seen this movie in a while, but, oh, it's so good. So, Case, The Naked Gun, tell us about it. You watched it for the first time yesterday.
Brian, I'm happy to report, even though you haven't seen it in a long time, if you enjoyed this movie at one point, I'm sure you would enjoy this movie again. Simply put, this is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Wow. Wow. Okay, this is from the lens of a 25-year-old. The movie came out in, what, 92, I think?
98 or 89, sorry.
89
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
one did. That's right. Oh, my God.
So, in the pantheon of classic movie reviews that I've done, I would put Shawshank at the top of the list, but I would put this right behind it. I had so much fun watching this movies. The cameos from Weird Al, the cameo from Reggie Jackson. Priscilla Presley is the love interest in this movie.
Is she?
Yeah. Not to
That's
mention the
interesting.
fact that O.J. Simpson is in this movie as a guy, like a character. He's not playing O.J., he's playing a police detective. The irony.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And so this is what, 5 years before the murders?
Yeah.
And he was so beloved. You have to put that perspective. At this point, he was a beloved guy.
That's what. So, again, I didn't live through the car chase and the trial and anything like that. I only know post OJ as like. There was no context to describe him. He was just O.J. Simpson, the guy who had lived the most interesting life in human history by that point. Is there a comparison of how beloved he might be to a modern day celebrity at the time, of course?
At the time, I mean, I'm trying to think of someone today.
Was like The Rock?
I guess in a way, yeah. That's a good reference point because he was an athlete, then became an actor, and then became
I'm
a
sure The
sports
Rock
announcer.
would really appreciate that. I'm sure he'd be ecstatic when his name came up in that conversation.
And The Rock just tuned out at Q101. He listens every morning.
That's a
It's
shame
too
we
bad.
had him for a while.
Yeah, I mean, you have to picture as well is that OJ by that point was just coming off being an athlete, been in some movies that was like these weird serious roles. Also a sportscaster, never really done funny
No,
before.
because the only time I've seen him as an actor was in The Heat of the Night. He does one episode of In the Heat of the Night.
How do you know that show?
Because that show is on TV Land every day at 10 a.m. and it's awesome.
Oh my
That show
God.
is phenomenal.
Are you sure you're 25 years old?
I know, it's a weird old man opinion to have,
Oh
but I
my
love
God.
In the Heat of the Night. OJ is in an
It's right
episode.
before MASH.
That's right.
It's actually lineup.
It's actually right before Andy Griffith, which is why I watch it.
Then you got Sanford and Son and Good Times
And
all
then
the way
I'm having
through.
a good day.
Yeah, that's right.
No, this movie is absolutely hilarious. It makes me mad, and maybe, hopefully, you can come around to my train of thought here. It makes me mad that a movie like Braveheart exists, because I did not enjoy Braveheart. It is
I
long.
want to
Hold on,
punch
Kenzie.
you in the face.
I know. I want to punch myself sometimes, but not now.
Like, you don't have to do this.
No.
You don't have to do what you're about to say.
Let me make a point here.
Okay, make your point.
Braveheart is this 3-hour melodramatic plotting. It just goes nowhere. It's boring. It's whatever. This movie, do you know how long this movie is, Brian?
By the way, it's all what he just said there, by the way.
Do you know how long this movie is?
I'm guessing it's an hour and 40 minutes.
It's an hour and 25.
Wow.
That, first of all, that's how long movies should be. New rule, hour 25. Not to turn
What
to
are
Bill
you,
Maher here.
5?
New rule, movies are an hour and 25 minutes long.
Uh-huh.
Every second of this movie was hilarious. The physical comedy of it was great. The dialogue was brilliant. There were great visual gags, like the anti-graffiti wall where people would graffiti it and then it would graffiti them back. And it's just everything about this movie was fantastic, not to mention the fact that the plot is that they're trying to save an assassination attempt of the Queen, where she attends an Angels versus Mariners baseball game. Where the main character is singing the national anthem. He poses as an opera singer, and then he poses as the home plate umpire.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Sounds like Miss Congeniality.
Kenzie, you have to see this movie.
Here's what I'm wondering, Brian, because you would be a better gauge than me on this.
Yeah.
I think Kenzie could watch it, and I think anybody listening, if they've got a kid that's probably like 8 to 12 years old, like Kenzie, I feel like your 9-year-old son would love this movie because it's...
I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's a good one for him to watch.
It's not super inappropriate, and there's so much visual comedy in it
It's
that I think a
childish humor.
kid could get it.
Yeah.
Really?
You just got to forget OJ.
What about the naked part and Naked Gun? Anything going on there?
No,
you see in the opening sequence, because I did note this, that they do drive a police car through a women's locker room shower, and you see some scantily clad backs, but no full frontal nudity.
Yeah, your skin over here. He's like 35 seconds in.
It was PG, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but old PG is like the new R. Because I've put on a few PG / PG-13 movies, and it's like F-bombs, boobs, sexy. And I'm like, okay, well, what did it take to be an R movie back then?
I'm not even sure there's swearing in this movie, to be honest.
Not really. The rating is PG-13, but I feel like if it came out now, it would actually be PG, because there's really, outside of some innuendo, there's not really any gratuitous sex. There's not really any gratuitous violence. Anything that's done is really cartoony and campy.
Well, all the violence was toward OJ.
I know. The opening scene, when OJ is trying to break up, maybe, now that I describe this, maybe she shouldn't watch this with her 9-year-old. OJ is trying to break up a heroin deal, and he gets lit up by gunfire.
Oh, thank you for the recommendation for my child.
Yeah. But after he gets lit up by gunfire, he hits his head, and then he burns his hand, and then he falls overboard on the ship.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Every second of this movie
they have
was
a Sesame
so funny.
Street episode very similar.
Yeah. I'm so glad you like it. And it stands up a 35-year-old movie at this point.
This is, and I want to make, our intentions clear. It's certainly not to glorify O.J. Simpson.
No.
He was an awful man. It's such a shame because he should have been such a great comedic actor.
This would have put him on the map.
Yeah.
But there was a couple other movies, sequels, and then he became a murderer. So
I would have much rather remember him as the athlete turned comedy star than what he is, which is a murderer.
Right.
It's a bummer.
It's tragic. Yeah, it really has a lot of levels.
Definition.
Wasn't O.J. Simpson also on like a Muppet episode?
I'm pretty sure he was.
Children?
Yeah. I vaguely remember that. He was on everything.
He really tried to get into children's entertainment.
Yeah.
He was
on so much of mainstream and, fun things after that especially.
So, I guess my last point here, because, with Shawshank and Braveheart and Matrix, we can break down the plot and go over all these details, but this is pure slapstick comedy for 90 minutes, so there's not a lot of plot points I want to hit. But, Brian, I have a reason for you and anybody else that has bonded with us over the last few years over a specific TV show. I have a reason for you guys to watch this movie again. Do you know who the mayor was in this movie?
I don't know for sure. I can't
Can
think
I
of
guess?
Yes, please.
Is it Jerry Seinfeld?
The mayor of this movie is not Jerry Seinfeld.
I don't know. Why is that a bad guess?
No.
You could be a mayor.
It's Nancy Marchand, who was Tony Soprano's mom in The Sopranos.
Oh, yes.
She plays the uppity mayor in this movie.
That's right.
And it's Tony's mom.
Oh, my God.
That's insane to think about. You only know her as the curmudgeon-y, awful Olivia Soprano.
Yeah.
And she's the mayor in the Naked Gun movie.
And hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Wow. Major.
I was like way off.
Yeah, you were a little bit off. Well, does that convince you to watch it now, Kenzie? What he said, or no?
Yeah, no, I'll do my best. A newborn and a 9-year-old. It's not a lot of what movie should I watch tonight?
The newborn's
Moments?
not gonna. He'll be fine. But
fine.
Tristan will definitely understand what's going on.
I feel like your 9-year-old should watch it. I think he'd love it.
Yeah, fine. I'm not that strict.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q 101.